What's up, everybody? Welcome in. We are streaming live on all platforms today. Finally, we're back up and running. We got TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Welcome in. Today's topic is going to be on lust, the deadly sin, lust, and how it rules your life, how it's messing with you, who rules it, the different angles that it plays into. But first and foremost, welcome in, everybody. Please accept my gratitude. Thank you for showing up. I'm live every Friday around this time. So mark it in your calendars, please. I know every single one of you uses your calendar. But nonetheless, we are we're gonna get started here shortly. But first, I want to start with the student loans. People are going crazy over the student loans here in the United States. I don't know where you're viewing from, but here in the United States, the United States government, they're starting to collect on these student loans, and people are going crazy online. You, I mean, I don't know if this has impacted you. Let me know in the comment section, okay? But people are really worried about repaying their student loans and it possibly going to collections, and not even just a regular collections, just going to the, I think, was it the Treasury, and they garnish, they take your passports, they do all of that stuff. It's kind of crazy. Makes you feel not human all over again, huh? But nonetheless, there's a lot of complaints about it, and I know I'm kind of talking lighthearted about it, but it brings me into a kind of a precursor to what I'm actually going to talk about. Sometimes complaining can feel good, especially when you are complaining out loud or publicly. You know, student loans right now, it's a big topic. If you're scrolling, especially on TikTok, TikTok seems to be pushing it, at least on my algorithm, on my feed, seems to be pushing it quite some time, or heavy right now. And what is ended up happening is your complaints. Well, first we need to know what a complaint is. And a complaint is just you expressing your dissatisfaction. Okay? You are expressing what you're not satisfied with. It's maybe it's not an expression, it's communication. You are communicating what you aren't satisfied with. And there's a difference between communication and expression. Okay? The word express, it means to pull out or push out. Communicate, it means to make information common, to make something common, to make a bit of information common. You know, hey, we're all here on the live stream. I just communicated that. But did you know the color of my shirt is expressing itself? The lights behind me are expressing themselves. The you know, the tone of my voice itself is expressing itself. They don't have the capability of communicating. But when you communicate, this is when you are now in communion. This is now when you are in a type of relationship, a type of leadership with at least one other person. Because when you are communicating instantly, whether you know it or not, instantly you are in a type of leadership. So communicating your dissatisfaction with these student loans, there might be a deeper spiritual consequence. Okay, there might be a deeper spiritual consequence that's happening here to you. Okay, to you. When you complain or communicate that you're not satisfied with something once, great. Who are you complaining to? Are you complaining to your peers, people who are on the same level as you? Are you complaining to your children? Are you complaining to I don't know, your parents or your teacher, your professor, your leader? Okay, somebody who might be able to actually solve the problem. So complaints spiritually are one way that you release authority. If you complain to me about your student loans, instantly, because it's hardwired into me, I'm instantly have the feeling of solving that problem. I'm like, oh, and if I can't, I'll offer some type of pandering thing, Oh, I'm so sorry you're going through this. It sucks so bad. I know it's so hard. But if I could fix it, if I was a billionaire, I'm like, here you go. Here's $50,000. Pay off your student loans. So what we don't know or what we don't understand is that demons don't have access to read your mind or your brain. So what you say has significant value in the spirit world. That this is why, when you speak, it's how you cast spells. Also, when you talk or when you communicate, when you're voicing things, oftentimes you are hypnotizing the listener. And it happens in such a minute, subtle way that you don't really understand how it's happening. But it doesn't matter how, it just happens, or just know that it happens. Kind of like gravity. Gravity works because it just works, okay? When you listen to anything, whether it's a baby crying, a TV set, me talking, or maybe you're listening to your own recording that you're about to post on TikTok or YouTube, you have to be hypnotized in order to listen, to observe that with your ears. So when you speak out loud, when you are communicating out loud in the form of a complaint, now these demons know your weak point. They can't read your mind. God can read your mind. These demons, devils, cannot read your mind. They cannot read your brain. They don't know what you're thinking. They don't know how it makes you feel before it does. So when you say, oh, my student loans with your mouth, oh, my student loans are horrible. I just don't like that we're going to have to repay them. I can't really afford it. We can't even eat. Now, it might feel good for you to say that out loud. Remember, I said at the beginning of this, complaints, when you complain, even that can feel good. Sometimes when you complain, it feels good, but it's not good for you. Number one, you should only complain to somebody who can actually solve the problem. Venting is a whole nother process that I guess I will get into right now. But venting, you don't need to vent. Venting is spiritual transfer. Venting is spiritual transfer. Okay, I'll say it one more time. Venting is spiritual transfer. When you are venting, let's say you are angry at somebody for something, and now you want to just talk to your best friend because your best friend always has a listening ear and you always feel better afterwards. But what you don't know in spirit is that Leviathan is is now inside of you. You are now possessed with Leviathan. And Leviathan is making you envious. Leviathan is making you bitter. Leviathan is influencing you to curse people, you know. So now when you go to your best friend and say, hey, can I just talk to you about what happened? So you're communicating this. And what ends up happening is you feel better afterwards. You feel great afterwards, but your best friend does not. Why? Well, there's a process for this. How do you know the word if you don't know the word? Okay, the word spirit, it means breath. The word spirit, it means breath. It does not mean zodiac signs, sage, crystals, anything else. It doesn't mean Buddha. It doesn't mean karma. It doesn't mean Casper the Friendly Ghost. The word itself, the etymological definition of spirit, it means breath. So when you breathe, you have spirit. It's simple, okay? It's not a complex thing. Spirituality is the art of breathing. So the pattern of your breath, it dictates a whole bunch of things. A whole bunch of things, guys. A whole bunch of things. So if you are low and slow in your lungs with your breathing pattern, you're more than likely depressed, in despair, you're sad, you're angry, bitter, frustrated, in agony. Okay, all of that resides low. This is why we call this low vibrations. Okay? A low vibrational person, aren't they angry all the time? Don't they complain all the time? Okay? They're in the lower end of their lungs. Okay? And a high vibration, of course, it's the exact opposite. This is where joy, bliss, celebration, happiness, elation, okay, expectation. This is where these exist in the higher, okay? So venting should be done with somebody that you know is spiritually equipped to handle the demon that you are about to pass to them. Okay? Venting should only be with somebody that you know that is spiritually equipped to handle the demon that you are trying to pass to them. Don't vent to somebody that you know is dealing with depression or childhood trauma or sexual trauma. Okay? Don't do it because it's insensitive, and I don't think it's a sin, but the Bible does say idle lips are the devil's mouthpiece. Okay? Idle lips are the devil's mouthpiece. What does that mean? Okay? Idle, the word idle. Say it's 30 degrees outside, 30 degrees Fahrenheit outside for people in the United States. And you are, it's cold. You don't want to get into your car when it's cold. So you go outside, you turn on your car or truck or van or SUV, whatever you got. And what you do is you turn it on. You crank up the heat and you let it run. And you go back in the house, you finish getting ready, you finish your breakfast, you finish putting your shoes on, kiss the family goodbye, pet the cat, dog, iguana, whatever animal you got. And what ends up happening is outside the car is still on. Okay? Outside the car is still on. The vehicle is still running. It's idling. Okay? The processes of the vehicle are engaged. They're in operation. What ends up happening is the vehicle is on, it's processing, but it's unmanaged. Idling is when something is on, but you are not managing it. So in idle lips means that your mouth is running, you're speaking, words are coming out of your mouth, but you're not verifying what you're actually gonna say. You're not verifying anything that's coming out of your mouth. You just want to just blurt things out. And this is why I hate talking. I do not like talking. I like communicating. Okay? Talking is just noise. Talking is just noise. Communication, okay? Communication is when you are able to make information common. Okay? So talking, it has no purpose in the kingdom. Communication is what you want. So you can't communicate all the time. You have to know who you're talking to, what the level that they're talking on, how they receive, probably their love language, their sex language, maybe depending on the person you're talking to. Are they a person that learns better with like a book or maybe a demonstration? Okay, like you have to know these things before you communicate. So complaining, and I said all that to say this, okay? Complaining about your student loans is valid, okay? Trust me, it's valid. But complaining online to anybody, to everybody that will hear, just so you can get pandered to, that's evil. Okay, that I'm telling you right now, I'll be the first person to tell you that is evil. And guess what? Most evil is nonviolent. Most evil is not violent. It comes in complaints about student loans with them not even expecting a solution from you, the listener. They just want to waste your time. There's no progress. They don't want you to get ahead in life. They don't want you to really do great things in your life. They just want you to listen to them complain about their student loans. That's evil. I'm telling you, that's evil. Most evil is not violent. So this is kind of like gossiping, what's happening with the student loan stuff. Online, the people will, and it does great for social media, okay? But remember, everything that feels good is not good, and everything that feels bad is not bad. Everything that feels good is not good. Everything that feels bad is not necessarily bad. Who loves going to the gym, burning their legs and their lungs, okay? Who loves going on hikes and a steep incline for hours on end? If you're into martial arts, who loves boxing and taekwondo, getting kicked in the face and kicked in the shin and all this stuff? Who loves that? Nobody. Okay, so the complaining online, the collective complaining, it's a distraction, okay? It's a complete distraction. And what ends up happening is this distraction not only restructures your algorithm online, but it restructures the God that is serving you, okay? And this is leading me right into the topic for today, which is lust. Lust, L-U-S-T, okay? L-U-S-T. It's a distraction. And many people, many people think that they are being tormented by this demon of lust. And what demon actually runs this sin of lust? Who's the ruler of this sin? Asmodeus. Asmodeus is the ruler of this sin. The demon of Asmodeus. And I could get into a whole story on Asmodeus, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to. If you want to learn more about Asmodeus and the other three demons that like control procrastination, you should really consider downloading my ebook, The War on Procrastination, and or you should consider enrolling in my mini course, The Spiritually Disciplined Leader. It's marvelous. Okay, their stories are very interesting. But back to the topic. Okay, lust. What does the word lust mean? Okay, the word lust, it means any source of pleasure or delight. Any source of pleasure or delight. Okay, any source of pleasure or delight. This should be something that might be, well, this might be new to you, but definitions to try to explain a type of a piece of existence. Okay, definitions try to construct and decode something that you are observing, whether you're hearing it, you're seeing it, you're tasting it, you're touching it. Okay, whether you're smelling it. Definitions try to explain what this is. Okay, it might be an apple, it might be a car, it might be a slap in the face, it might be cognitive dissonance, it might be a synonym, a dictionary. So this is what it is. Okay, lust, any source of pleasure or delight, but quite often, it is associated with your sexual energy. Okay, this is only for the adults in the house. Okay, well, I only want to talk to the adults right now, the mature people. Okay, and again, thank you everybody for being here. Okay, if you're here, trust me, you're here for a reason. I have almost 1 million followers on TikTok, almost 60,000 on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. If you're here for a reason. Not many people show up for my live streams. So any source of pleasure or delight. It's usually associated with your sexual energy, your creative energy. I call it your creative energy because this is what or how God moved everything from nothing. Okay, this is how nothing became everything. This is how blackness became the light. So that portion in between there is called creativity. Okay, it's called creativity. This is why in the beginning he created the heavens and the earth. In the beginning creation. Okay, and then he gives us the 6 days of his creation and how he created. Okay, so creation is the process from nothing to everything, from nothing to abundance. Okay, and what ends up happening here is humans, because we are made in his image, and I find that really fascinating. Quite honestly, we are made in his image. Image. The word image means what does image mean? An artificial representation of a person or a thing. So an artificial representation. An image is an artificial representation. We are God's AI. By definition, we are God's AI. We are the artificial intelligence that God created. Isn't that crazy? Oh, it's pretty cool. Okay, so when you are when you look around everything has creative energy. Everything in life has sexual energy. How do I know this? Well, everything needs to procreate somehow. Everything needs to have the breath of God first in order for it to come into existence. Spiders cannot have more spiders without two spiders doing the do. Giraffes, the same. Grass, the same. Trees, the same. Humans are not any different. We just do it differently. So what ends up happening is we experience creative energy as our sexual energy. Okay, this is I call it creativeness. Okay, this is us being creative, and now humans, this is where we kind of have a sense of free will. When we use our creativity to further our life, this is coming from what we call our imagination. Okay, the art of your imagination. The art of your imagination. That's one definition of creativity. Creativity, one definition of creativity is the art of the imagination. It's insane. We have an imagination and we have the ability to execute art. So, everything around you is sexual. Everything around you is sexual. Not that it's calling out to have sex with other things, okay? Because a rock has life, but it is not alive. Okay, only alive things can communicate. I know it's getting kind of weird, but if you ever want to relook at this video, the live stream, go onto my YouTube and you can relook at it all you want. Okay, but only alive things can communicate. Things that have life express. They do not communicate. A rock has life. It is not alive. So a rock can only express. It can only push things out. It only pushes information out. It's kind of like talking versus communication. Or excuse me, I said that incorrectly. Yeah, said that incorrectly. So when you are looking around your environment right now, whether you're in your room, you're laying on your bed, you're at work, whatever, and you look around, everything is sexual. Everything. Now, because we have free will, we as God's children, the chosen one, we are able to decide how to manage and process this sexual energy. How do we execute this properly? Well, here comes the demon of lust, Asmodeus. Okay, here comes this demon, and he has access to you. All the time? No, not all the time, but he has access to you, to me, to her, to him, to them, people in South Africa, people in Australia, people in Russia, people in Texas, any and everybody, okay? But they are not in the same place all the time. And I want to be something or bring some clarity to that, what omnipresent actually means. Because how can I be suffering or being tormented by lust and you also be tormented by lust? How's that even possible? I mean, for real, have you thought about that? How is it possible that I might be tormented by lust, the demon called Asmodeus, and you as well in the same moment? We can be doing it in the same moment. How? Well, there's a difference between the world and earth. Okay? How do you know the word if you don't know the word? Okay? The word world, the word world means the affairs of life. The affairs of life. That's what the word world means. Okay, so we all live in our own world. Some people see green, some people see red. Some people are CEOs, and some people are only cashiers. Some people have multi-million dollar businesses. Some people are homeless. The affairs of life. We live in our own world, and we collect the information to build the affairs of our life through what is called intellect or your cognition. Okay, your eyes, your ears, your touch, your reasoning, all that stuff. So when you are able to have a world, you then can experience your own things, your own way. We're standing on the beach, and I draw a 9, but you see a 6. Okay? The affairs of life. We're living in our own world. We see things differently, even if it's the same thing in the sand. So, the reason why demons, the same demon can attack you and attack me is because of principles. Okay? The Bible says we wrestle with principalities. We wrestle not with flesh and blood, but with principalities. Okay, and I know it's not word for word for what the Bible actually says, but you know what I'm saying. Okay, principles have application. Principles have logic. They have process. One after the other. Things that just work. Okay, things that just flow. Your car starts because either it's diesel or it's gasoline. Okay? Your stove gets hot because it's propane, it's gas, or it's electric. Principles. Okay? Gravity works because of the gravity principles. Okay? There are business principles, right? The more people you serve, the more money God pushes through you to give to their family, thus making you rich. The greatest among you will be a servant. Okay? So principles are the reason why a demon like lust, Asmodeus, can be attacking you and also be attacking me in the same moment. Because it's the principle. Okay? What principle has he stood for? Okay? And remember, the word spirit means breath. Some beings, some people, some characters, some spirits, not spirits, not that word. Some things have such such a way to magnetize their pattern of breath. So much so that it influences people for centuries to come. Okay? Maybe even for all of humanity. So, for example, Jezebel, a real human being, she was an evil woman. Okay? Evil Jezebel. She hated prophets, hated teachers, hated people that could call her out. She hated people with sight. So what ended up happening is she murdered a lot of people. She did not like them. Her pattern of breath, the way she manipulated things, the way she tore things down, tore kingdoms down, stopped people from viewing her, erased accountability from her DNA. Like now, Jezebel cannot be accountable ever. She's anti-accountability, but she's 100%, I will blame you for everything. It's all your fault, okay? The pattern of her breath flowed for centuries, for all of all now, ever since she was alive and when she passed away, the pattern of her words, the pattern of her breath, the pattern of her spirit, remember spirit means breath, it carries, okay? It carried, and now many people adopted her pattern of breath. So this is significant to know because even demons, okay, demons have more power than Jezebel. Jezebel is not a demon. She was a person. But now demons do not exist in the third dimension. Okay, they're not 3D, so they're not humans. Demons are not humans. I know this is getting kind of weird for some people, but what you need to know is that the principles of the demons are so strong that they carry forever in the third dimension. Okay, they carry forever in the third dimension. So the world that I'm living in, my affairs of life, are impacted by that because I exist in the third dimension. Okay, if your affairs of life, your world that you live in, is also impacted by those as well, those same demonic principles. Okay, so this is why Asmodeus or demons could be the same demon can be attacking me as well as attacking you in the same moment. Okay, in the same moment. And but God is different. God is more. God is omnipresent. He is everywhere at the same moment. Everywhere. Everywhere. And how do I know that? How do I know that? Well, in the beginning was the Word. Okay, but more than that, let's fast forward a little bit. Life. God created life. What is life? Life? Well, how do you know the Word if you don't know the Word? Okay? Again, everybody, thank you guys for being here. Okay? But the word life means spiritual existence imparted by God. Okay? Spiritual existence imparted by God. You may not have ever known that's what the word life means, but that's exactly what it means. Spiritual existence imparted by God. Do you know how significant that is? Like, spiritual existence imparted by God. So that tells me a few things. Number one, there are more than one type of existence. It's not just physical. There's also a spiritual realm. There's also well, I don't know. There's probably other realms I haven't really looked at into any other realms, to be honest. But spiritual existence imparted by God. So what that means, I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you. Okay, life. So there's the spiritual side, and then there's the physical side. There's a spiritual realm over here, and here is the physical realm. The piece in the middle, this little piece in the middle, is called life. The piece that connects the spiritual and the physical realms is called life. It's called life. Okay? And the fact that in the definition it said that life is only here because God put it here, that's what gave me chills. So that means everything in life is a spiritual projection. Everything in your life is a spiritual manifestation, good or bad. It's a spirit, like it's spiritual first. It's spiritual first. Okay, and spirituality, it does not belong to any religion. It belongs to God. And to be fair, God is religionless. But I understand structure, so following a religion might work for you. Okay. All right. So Asmodeus, this demon. Now that we know that he can impact us, how does he impact us? How exactly does this demon work? Well, I will tell you that this demon works through, excuse me, distraction. Okay, this demon is the demon of distraction. This demon is not a demon that will torment you for long. This is like the shiny spiritual object that gets you lured into the bear trap. Okay, this is the peanut butter that's on the mousetrap, or it's the block of cheese that's on the mousetrap. That is what Asmodeus is. That's what lust is. Okay, and remember, any source of pleasure or delight. That's what Asmodeus, or I mean not Asmodeus. Lust means. Okay, lust means any source of pleasure or delight. Actually, the word Asmodeus means the demon of wrath. Kind of strange, isn't it? But it's still true. But lust itself means any source of pleasure or delight. So, because sex and sexual energy and creative energy is the most plentiful energy around, it's the most obvious one to attack first. And coincidentally, most humans enjoy having sex. We enjoy it, okay, with the person that we choose. And what ends up happening is, they say sex sells. Well, yeah, because you're paying with your attention. Thus, the phrase, pay attention. Lust is a demon of distraction that attacks your sight. And you see with your mind, not your eyes. Okay, you see with your mind and not your eyes. If you ask a person who has no ability to use their eyeballs, they were born that way, let's just say, they were born that way, and you ask them, what do you think of the color red? They have to go into their mind and start describing things. They might say, oh, it's like a fiery furnace, it's hot, it's like a firecracker sparkling on my skin. It smells like burning wood over the stove. Okay, that's what they might see as red. But they still have sight. They just can't see with their eyeballs. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, now any source of pleasure or delight, you could be addicted to anything. I don't know, cigarettes, cleaning, maybe your OCD. Maybe you have a thing with touching doorknobs 3 times, or I don't know, right? Whatever your addiction is, You ever wonder when you get near that thing, when you understand that you are near that thing, you're like, that's all you seem to think about. It's because that's your source of pleasure or delight. Okay? Now, Asmodeus, he does not know what you're thinking. He can't read your mind. He can influence your mind by presenting you your images. Okay, he will present you images in your mind, and the thing about paying with your sight, with your attention, is that attention in spirit is always connected to time. You pay with your attention, and then what you pay attention to, it depends on what God will provide for you. So if you're paying attention to pornography, don't be shocked. Okay, don't be shocked if Leviathan or Asmodeus starts to provide for you. Okay, and which brings me into another thing. Okay, a lot of people think lust is like, you see these like very pretty women online, very handsome men online. You know, they're clearly leading with their sexual energy. You know, they're dancing, shaking their butts, or staring in the eye, staring in the camera like they're about to cry. You know, all that weird stuff. What ends up happening is many of us think that number one, that the person observing that is lustful. And that's not true. Okay. For example, if a woman is in her bikini online, and you as a man are looking at that, and you might get aroused from that, that does not mean you are lustful. Okay. The demon is flowing through the person who is acting. Okay. Observation is not an act. It's like a state of being. Okay. You cannot actively observe. You just have to be. Okay. Observation is like you just be, and whatever comes, and then you begin to like dissect it and break everything down. But the person dancing on screen, or the person who's, you know, with his shirt off, oiled up and stuff, crazy stuff like that, that is a person who is possessed with lust. That is the lustful person. Now, oftentimes you'll see in the comment section people who, you know, are pandering. Okay, people who are pandering. Oh, you're such a king, you're such a queen, you're doing your thing. Oh my God, I'd marry you right now. Those people are not lustful. Okay, those people are now envious. Okay, but I want to tell you, lust happens at a very, very fast pace. Lust itself is a thing, is a process, lightning fast. It's lightning fast. It does not linger around. Remember, Asmodeus is the demon of distraction. He doesn't need to continuously distract you unless you're in your purpose, unless you're building kingdom, unless you're building your business and scaling. Okay, but when you are scrolling on TikTok, you're not in your purpose. Have you ever been to a bar and there's a whole bunch of drunk people, and you might clearly be drunk yourself, and you ask the bartender for another beer? Nobody who is drunk, who's already a drunkard, who is sinning, is going to try to correct you. Bro, you don't need that. No, the devil never corrects you when you are down sinning. Okay, when you're doing bad things, you're not going to get corrected by the devil. You're not going to be shamed by the devil. Okay, so this is like a weird example of like how lust operates very quickly. Okay, the demon of distraction. Okay, the demon of distraction is it like the process of distraction is not even a continuous thing. Once you get distracted, Now you're in the process, okay? In Revelations, it talks about the seven-headed beast, okay? Seven-headed beast, seven deadly sins, okay? Once you, like Pokemon, gotta catch them all, okay? Once you are possessed by one, more than likely you have more, okay? And that's just the truth. So when you understand that okay, once you understand that lust is a quick thing, okay, that lust itself, the distraction part, is a fast thing. What follows lust is called, or it's the demon of Leviathan. Okay, this is pride and envy. Okay, Leviathan is the ruler of pride and envy. And pride, okay, means the love of display. So the love of display, once you love how you look, once you love, like if you're up online and like people are pandering to you, you know, oh, you're such a queen, look how pretty you are, you're such a king, look how handsome you are, look, oh, just keep doing what you're doing, right? This, and if you continue to do the same thing in order to get the same reaction out of the people, congratulations, Leviathan is influencing you. Okay, Leviathan, the demon of pride and envy, is influencing you. The love of display. You love the display. You love the display. Okay, just like the love of money is the root of all evil. The love of money. Okay, mammon, greed, mammon. Okay, the love of display. So this is like all these very, very extremely attractive people displaying themselves only to get comments and being pandered to. More than likely, deep down, they're depressed. They're not feeling good about themselves. You know, they have self-esteem issues. It's kind of odd that they might have self-esteem issues because they're online doing this crazy stuff. But the distraction part happened at a moment's notice. Okay, the distraction part probably happened before you even before you even had before you actually even saw the woman or even saw the man. The distraction part was a mental thing where Asmodeus got into your mind and said, oh, go over to her profile because it's time for you to get distracted. You're working really hard. Go look at her body. That right there is Asmodeus. That's lust. Okay? Any source of pleasure or delight. It happens just like that. But the love of display, when envy takes over and pride takes over, is when you stay looking at her. Okay? Or him. Okay? This is the love of display. And it always follows lust. Okay? Asmodeus and Leviathan always work together. Always work together. Okay? And don't worry. The more you are in your purpose, the heavier Leviathan will work. The heavier Belphegor will work. Belphegor is the demon of sloth. Okay? The more you're doing what God told you to do, the more that you're kind, the more that you're waking up at 4:30 working on your business, the more that you are talking to homeless people and making sure that they know that they are loved. This is when lust creeps in. This is when, and it's like a campaign. It's almost like a demonic campaign against you because they know you're moving further and further away from hell. And they can't have that. And it happens more than just online. It's like in real life. Like as soon as you start doing good in life, as soon as you start moving up in your business, or developing a marketing funnel, or going to the gym, what happens? An ex-husband calls, an ex-wife calls, or you get a court order or something crazy like that, or maybe I don't know, something in real life. Like your neighbor starts becoming an enemy out of nowhere, and it's like, why? Like I just started getting through this. I just started seeing like crazy. It's crazy how this works, but it's true. Okay, it's true. So, how do you defeat lust? Do you guys want to know how to defeat lust? Sorry, I need some water. All right. Well, you cannot run from them. Number one, the number one way to defeat lust is patience. And I mean that in the definition way. Okay, patience. And patience is spiritual, actually. There are other ways I will explain here shortly, but patience is a virtue. What does that mean? Patience is a virtue. Well, what is virtue? Virtue is actually one of God's closest angels. Okay, there are demons, and there's order in hell, right? There's like demonic structure, and then there's a heavenly structure that we call that the triad. Okay, the triad. There's many different types of angelic beings. Okay, and like there's principalities, there's dominions, there's powers, there's I'll say this one wrong, cherubim, there's virtue, and then there's a thing called angels. Angels are how humans engage with angelic beings. Okay, like archangels, we don't directly have access to them. We only have access to angels, and angels are in the third triad at the very lowest. Okay, more likely because they're so just so powerful. So, we can't really handle all that, like what they have to offer. But virtue is an angel. Actually, virtue is an angel, and it is tasked out to deliver grace. What is grace? Grace is God's unmerited love and favor. Okay, that's what the word grace means. God's unmerited love and favor. This is what grace is. Virtue is assigned to deliver grace. Part of grace, part of God's unmerited love and virtue, or God's unmerited love and slip my mind, but grace. Part of that is joy. Okay, joy is part of grace. Okay, patience is part of grace. Celebration is part of grace. Humbleness is part of grace. Modesty is part of grace. These are the fruits that we all talk about. Grace. You want grace, so you want patience. The word patience actually means calm endurance of misfortune. Calm endurance of misfortune. So if you can calmly endure something going wrong, this is great. Because quite oftentimes when something goes wrong, you want to curse yourself. Oh, I hate my student loans. Okay, God's out the picture, is not here at that point. Why do I have to pay my student loans? Oh my God, I don't like that. Okay, God's not serving you anymore. Now it's envy, self-pity. Self-pity is envy. Now you have Leviathan on your side, helping you along the way. Okay, but patience stops you from cursing yourself. Okay, patience gets you to stop cursing yourself. So when you are patient, you definitely know that now you know that virtue, the angel, is here. Virtue is with you. Okay, you can ask God to deliver virtue. God, please send virtue my way. I need me some virtue, please. Okay. So what is patience not? What is a main misconception of what patience is? Patience is not waiting. You don't wait. Like, patience is not about expecting something. You don't like, if you're in line to get food, you don't have to be patient. You have to wait. Okay. And yes, Instagram, it does that sometimes. Sorry, I think it's my internet. So patience is when you are showing God how strong you are through the lessons that He's providing you. Okay, all this training. When you are in the spiritual gym and you're doing squats and you're doing bench press and you're running on the treadmill and you're jumping rope and you're doing your stretches and stuff, you should know that maybe you shouldn't complain about it. Okay, I used to be a personal trainer back in the day. The people who complain with their mouth over and over and over again, this was horrible. Okay, it just made the experience insufferable. Right? Insufferable. It's just being around people who complain sucks. But the person complaining, they feel good because they're getting rid of the demon. Okay? So the thing about lust is the distraction. If you get the image in your mind of, I need to go over to her profile on TikTok or Instagram, or it's 8 o'clock at night and I need to pull up some pornography, or it's it's lunchtime and I made my salad, but some McDonald's would sure taste a lot better, right? That distraction, okay? That is lust. So calmly enduring the distraction means verification, okay? It means you need to verify what's going on. Verify and then certify the images in your mind. This is what patience means to defeat lust. You need to verify. You have 100% control over your mind. 100% control. And if you don't think you do, you need to enroll in my mini course for the how to master your imagination. It's imagination for empaths. But it's more for it's geared for empaths. But if you have a mind, a brain, and imagination, this teaches you how to master it. Okay. This is something so important. Okay. Patience defeats lust. But just think of demons kind of like mosquitoes. They don't go away. Okay, they do not go away. You just need to equip yourself with the right tools. Get some DEET or one of them bug zapper things, okay? Get them out of here. But they will come back. More come back. It's how it works. The principles, okay? The principles, okay? So the next thing, way that you can defeat lust is pray. And I know people think that they know about prayer, but they do not. If you want to learn about prayer, I have an ebook. It's called A Peace Called Love. It's in the description. It's linked in the bio, wherever you're watching this at. Prayer means to beg or to ask earnestly. Okay? Prayer is when you are communicating to God or the devil. It just depends. There are 7 types of prayer. Like seven levels of prayer. 7 different levels of prayer. They're all laid out in my ebook, okay? And what ends up happening is when you open the line of communication directly, intentionally, you're asking God for forgiveness. You're begging Him for $1 million a month. You're asking for health. God, please give me health. You're begging Him to give you health. Okay, it's okay to beg God. I beg God every day, multiple times a day. There's nothing wrong with that. But when God talks back to you, it's not called prayer, because God doesn't beg you or ask you for anything. He gives you a task. If you don't do it, guess what? He'll probably get somebody else to do it a few generations down the line, because God is outside of time. This is why procrastination is so deadly for you, because God doesn't need you. Like, He doesn't need me either. If we don't do what He says the first time, He'll get somebody else to do it or create somebody else. So, prayer is so important because it lets lust know, it lets Asmodeus know your intentions. So when you pray from here on out, okay, from here on out, you need to pray with your mouth, not your mind. Because many people don't know how to master, or don't understand how to master their mind. You have an idle mind. And what ends up happening is you'll be cooking dinner, cooking lunch or whatever, or driving in your car. Some people do this all the time. You'll drive in a car and you'll be the only one in your car, and all of a sudden the image of your ex-boyfriend or your ex-girlfriend pops in your mind, and now you're cursing out loud. You're cursing your ex-boyfriend, your ex-girlfriend, your ex-wife, your coworker that's not there. You're like, I wonder why they're doing, and it's like, they always lying, When you do that, okay, that is an indication that your mind is running without management. You have an idle mind, okay? You are not managing your mind. And if you're not managing your mind, you're damn sure not mastering it. So my mini course on mastering your imagination is ready for you to enroll. Please consider that. If you want to talk to God better, seriously. But your imagination has so much more benefits too. But you're praying to God out loud. It helps you catch yourself when you veer off. Because imagine asking God for forgiveness, but in the same conversation of you asking Him for forgiveness, if you're talking to God in your mind, and then you start thinking about pornography. That's insane. You're you're asking God for forgiveness, but then you're asking God like to kind of be here with you with, the half naked women or men, like it doesn't work like that. You're asking God for his grace, his mercy, but then you're asking God to sin with you. Don't do that. Okay? So pray with your mouth. Okay? The next thing, and excuse me, about prayer, there's actually a process to prayer too. If you do it intentionally, well, number one, you don't leave the process of prayer. You don't ever leave it. When you're conceived, prayer, you exist on one of the 7 levels of prayer. But when you do it intentionally, directly, and you're down on your knees, or it's before lunch, or before you go to bed, or whatever, there's a process that works. Number one, you need to get his attention. So you thank God first. Number one, you thank God. Just thank God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Right? In repetition until you start to feel this little sensation in your chest. And you will feel it. You will feel it. Okay? That sensation is a presence. It's the Holy Spirit coming around. Okay? Next, the very next thing you do is you thank God for what he's provided you. And thanking God, being thankful, is not about feeling good about something. It's not about winning. Don't do that to yourself. Okay? Thankfulness means content. It means satisfied. So if you are thankful for listening to me, it does not mean that I'm giving you all this amazing material that's going to transform your life, and you feel like you want a prize. No, it means that you're content right now. Right now, you're satisfied. But far too often, we think that we can only be thankful if we have won something, if somebody has gifted us something. No, be thankful for provision. You are thankful if you are content. But oftentimes, people are not content, like Lucifer. He wasn't content. He was not thankful, so he got thrown out of heaven. So that's the second thing. Okay, the next step in prayer is you need to you need to ask God for forgiveness. Okay, now that you have his attention, you then are pointed out to specific things that he has done in your life, even if you don't have enough of it. Okay, even if you haven't eaten in 3 days, thank you, God, for the food. Even if you just got a divorce, thank you, God, for love. Even if you are homeless, thank you, God, for life. Okay, this is important. Okay, because since we are made in his image, we as human beings mimic God in so many ways. In so many ways. We wrestle not with flesh and blood, but with principalities. Find the principle, find the system, find the pattern, and you win. Okay? So, next, after you ask him for forgiveness, okay, then you can start requesting for his favor. Okay? Ask him to do you favors. Grace. God's unmerited love and favor. Okay? Grace. God's unmerited love and favor. You ask God to do you a favor. God, can you please give me $500,000 every month? God, in the blood of Jesus, God, can you please give me a dog? God, can I please, and trust me, if you have, there's no limit on abundance. God is not the God of lack, okay? Yahweh is not the God of lack. He's a God of abundance. So it might seem large to you, but it's only a sliver of a sliver of a sliver of a sliver. It's nothing. It's only 500,000. That's it. That ain't nothing. That ain't nothing. Okay? But so those are the steps of prayer. Okay? Thank God. Thank God for the stuff he's done for you. Ask for forgiveness. Request. Okay? And do all of that with your mouth. Do all of that with your mouth, not in your mind. Yes, you can do it in your mind, but more than likely, you haven't mastered your mind, and you're gonna ask God to gossip with you right after you ask for him to forgive you for your sins. And gossip is a sin. People do that all the time. Okay. I think I am about to wrap up. But thank you everybody for being here. Again, I have a whole bunch of resources for you guys. Ebooks, a piece called Love, The War on Procrastination, The Eye of the Empath. Those are the ebooks that I have written. They are available for you to read anytime you want. It's linked in the description if you're on YouTube. On the other ones, it's linked in my bio. I have mini courses that go deeper, okay? That go deeper. I have two mini courses. And one mini course, of course, will help you master your imagination. Your imagination is how you view your future. How do you see yourself? Oh, I can't afford my rent. Is the rent today? No. So that means your imagination is working against you. And once your imagination works against you, it then transfers it to your brain, and your brain can only detect things that relate to what your mind just passed to it. So if you can only imagine lack, your brain can only see lack. Your brain can only detect lack. This is how it really works. So that is another mini course. And then I have my most popular mini course is called the Spiritually Disciplined Leader. This is in reference to the 3 demons that make you procrastinate. Okay, it goes way more in depth. Okay, it goes way more in depth than the ebook. Okay, it talks about Asmodeus, Belphegor, and the other one slipped my mind. Ashtaroth. Okay, Asmodeus, Belphegor, and Ashtaroth. Those 3 demons rule procrastination. There are other spirits that will influence you in your procrastination, but procrastination is deadly to you. It's deadly to you. Why? Because if you don't do what God said, trust me, he don't need you. He don't need me. He will get somebody else. They don't even have to be born yet. He can wait 500 more years to get that done because God is timeless. So if you procrastinate, that's a you problem, not a him problem. So I do have one-on-one coaching as well. If you're interested in that, feel free to send me an email. I have a couple of coaching programs. If you are interested in a Zoom call, I have a free bi-weekly group Zoom call. They fill up quickly. Okay, they fill up quickly. So all of that is linked in the bio. You can always access any of this stuff that I'm talking to you about in my bio or in the description for you guys on YouTube. And this is something, and I do have one-on-one structured calls, the Pathway to Purpose, the Session for Success, and Life Alignment. So I have a lot of resources for you. I have a lot of free checklists. Okay, I have a lot of free checklists. And and to-do list that you guys can download today, free of charge, and you guys can use that in your everyday life to make sure that you are on track. Lots of various checklists. I have one for procrastination, one for empaths. I think I have a couple for empaths. But please go and check it out. But somebody asked me on Instagram, is it free? Do I have any free ebooks or courses? No, I don't. I found out the hard way that people don't value free stuff. And if you are a business owner, you understand what I'm talking about. But spiritually, okay, spiritually, money is currency. So the value of money is only observed when it's moving. So free has no money. It has no currency. And I know I've coached people for free, 100% free. And one way or another, it did not work out. They did not value it. They liked it, they appreciated it, but they could not see the value in it. If they were to have paid the money for it, 100%, they would have valued it. Okay. Oh, somebody on TikTok said, very confusing when a reading was unwarranted. So that brings me up to say this. There are so many fake accounts on for me on TikTok. Like, I think it's almost 80. I do not reach out to you. I don't ask you for money. Okay. There are no fake accounts on IG, Instagram yet. I don't think there's any fake accounts yet. But once people start noticing me more over there, I'm pretty sure that will happen. So I never ask you for money. I will never ask you to give you a reading. This is my only account. I only have one account, so don't be dismayed. It was not me. If you got, trust me, it was not me. But I'll take a couple of questions as I end. I'm gonna stay on for a little bit. There's some fake accounts that offer readings, but they use my face, my likeness. So, anybody have any questions for me? I'm looking at everything. So, thank you, YouTube, for staying. I love you guys. Thank you, Instagram, for staying. Next week, we're talking about sloth. Okay? Next week, we're talking about sloth, the demon of sloth called, it is ruled by Belphegor. Belphegor is the demon that rules sloth. If you have any questions, let me know now. Let me know now. All right, somebody on TikTok said they garnish wages for child support why not great. Yeah, so as far as the student loans, okay, as far as the student loans go, they definitely, so they do garnish wages for child support. So the reason why this is going to be so impactful for so many people is that The people who are default in student loans they're going to feel the same pain as the people who are in back child support. The people who are in back child support, their stuff gets sent to the Treasury, and the Treasury issues out an offset notice. And in the offset notice, they take your passport, they garnish your wages, any wages. You do not get a tax return. It's painful. So the student loan people are going to be experiencing that here very shortly too, if they don't have their stuff in order. All right, somebody on Instagram said, how can we separate or tell the difference from pure God? God is pure. God is pure. God is not the author of confusion, laziness, idolatry. God does not want you to worship the universe. God created the universe. You are in the image of God. So with that being said, you're not a tree, you're not a stone, you're not crystals, you're not a zodiac sign, you're not Aries, Cancer, or whatever. Okay, somebody said on TikTok, what's your opinion about dark empaths? Well, an empath is the emotional sponge. Okay, you guys feel things that can't really be explained. And this will be my last question because I need to stand up and move around. But when an empath is forced into communication, maybe you are a manager, or maybe you are a parent, or maybe like you have to be around people, lots of people, and you don't know how to manage your gift. Right? You did not come in contact with somebody like me before. What ends up happening is you get beat up so much that it turns you sour. You get envious. You despise people, and not only despise people, you think people are against you automatically. You start to think people are against you. And because you have been on defense for so long as an empath, you switch to now you must become on the offense. You not only use your gift to absorb and detect, but you use it to manipulate and mismanage other people in their life. So that's what a dark empath is. Okay, guys. I think it is now time to call it a day. I look forward to hearing from you guys. Send me an email if you have any questions. Not a DM. Please, no DMs. There's too much DMs. But nonetheless, if you didn't know, now you know.